Apakah Islam menindas wanita atau justru Islam memuliakan wanita? Ya, para sobat, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bertemu kembali dengan Kang Zen. Kali ini kita mau reaksi dari video dakwah Tuna Ambassador dengan judul Jangan Cepat Percaya Media, Wanita Justru Dimuliakan Dalam Islam. Video yang sangat menarik. Kita coba reaksi, kita tonton videonya, kita like, komen, dan subscribe dakwah Tuna Ambassador. Lalu kita coba nanti komentari. Check it out.
Our true value comes from what's inside, not from our physical appearance. Real empowerment should come from protecting women from exploitation, not encouraging it. And I feel like the hijab is there as a means to protect women from this very subject. The media always portrays Islam as oppressing women, stripping them away from their rights. But is this really true? Today, let's look at the facts and decide together. Let's go. So guys, I have done quite a bit of research on this topic and it is so interesting what I found. The hijab cannot be forced in Islam. Islam promotes freedom of choice. So let me just repeat that for everyone in the back over here. Islam is free choice. The hijab is a choice. It's a statement of devotion to your creator. It's a sign of respect. It's a sign of dignity. No one can tell you what you can and cannot wear. Not your husband, not your father, not your brother, no one. And not just what you can't wear. They can't tell you what to do in religion. Period. There is no compulsion in Islam. Everything you do is between you and your creator. Does this sound like oppression to you? Or does this sound like it's encouraging women to be protected from objectification and exploitation? Hey ChatGPT, I have a question. Muslim women today, how do they see the hijab? Do they see it as a sign of oppression?
Many Muslim women see the hijab as a personal or spiritual choice that reflects their faith, modesty, and identity. For those who choose to wear it, the hijab can symbolize empowerment, control over how they are perceived, and a focus on inner qualities rather than outward appearances.
That's very true, and I understand all this, but there are countries today who claim to be Muslim countries that literally force women to wear the hijab. So how does that work?
Countries that enforce the hijab often mix cultural traditions or political agendas with Islamic principles, contradicting Islam's core teachings of choice in worship. The Quran emphasizes modesty, but states there is no compulsion in religion. Quran 2:256. These governments blur the line between culture, state control, and faith, undermining Islam's true spirit of personal devotion and voluntary submission to God.
Wow, that is so true. Like, it really does break my heart to think that there are women out there forced to do something they don't want to do, but I think we have to remember that this is not Islam. This has nothing to do with Islam. There's a big difference between culture and Islam. Also, something that I just noticed that was really interesting is that the hijab's not just for Islam. Look at the Bible. Look at Mother Mary. Look how she's dressed. She's literally portrayed with a head covering in every photo you see of Mother Mary. Look at the Bible, 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 5. It literally tells women to cover their hair. It's all throughout the Bible. Also, Rebecca, she was mentioned in Genesis, covering herself with a veil. And then you look at nuns these days. How are they dressed? They're literally wearing hijab the same as Muslims. Hinduism, Buddhism, you look at all their cultural, their special events, they're all dressed modestly, wearing veils over their hair. So the hijab is not just an Islamic thing. It's seen in all major cultures and all major religions. It's a sign of respect and a sign of modesty. Also, another question I have is wearing less actually giving more power to women? Or is it doing the opposite? Current feminists these days always say, my body, my choice, wearing less is liberation, I'm free to do what I want when I want. Now, is this really freedom? Or is this a form of objectification? Are women being brainwashed into taking their clothes off? Hey ChatGPT, what is the biggest money-making industry in the US right now?
In terms of sheer revenue, retail and e-commerce are the biggest money-making industries in the US right now. Online shopping has revolutionized retail, enabling customers to shop 24/7 from anywhere. Companies like Amazon, Walmart, and Shopify dominate the space, selling products for fashion, beauty, makeup, personal care, and luxury goods.
Sex sells. They are feeding into women's egos of wanting to feel beautiful. They make us think we need to buy the latest makeup, the latest fashion, the latest accessories to look beautiful. This mindset ultimately conditions women to think that they need to be beautiful on the outside to get value and completely neglect their true purpose in life. Is our physical appearance truly where we get our value? Our true value comes from what's inside, not from our physical appearance. Real empowerment should come from protecting women from exploitation, not encouraging it. And I feel like the hijab is there as a means to protect women from this very subject. Also, another thing, ladies can dress however they like at home with their husbands, with their family. It's only when they're around strangers that the hijab applies. When you actually think about the hijab from a logical perspective, I feel like the reasoning behind it is just so beautiful. It's there as a protective means. It's there to stop us from being objectified. Really, like, I can't see the oppression at all when you think about it like this. Alright, so the next topic is, are women seen as less than a man? What does the Quran say, ChatGPT?
In Islam, men and women are considered equal in spiritual worth and duties. The Quran emphasizes both have the same potential to earn rewards and seek closeness to God, as seen in verses like Quran 33:35, which highlights their shared opportunity for spiritual growth.
So, men and women are seen as completely equal in the eyes of God.
Yes, that's correct.
Alright, that's really cool. But I wonder, does Islam teach that men have to see women as equal?
Yes, in Islam, men are required to treat women as equals in their worth, dignity, and rights, as emphasized in both the Quran and Hadith. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Indeed, your women have the same rights over you as you have over them." This highlights the principle of mutual respect, fairness, and balance in relationships, where men and women are both granted rights and responsibilities. Islam encourages men to honor, support, and treat women with kindness, recognizing their equality in humanity and spiritual value. Any injustice or mistreatment is a violation of these core teachings.
Wow, that's pretty straightforward to me, guys. Men and women are equal, period. Okay, but now this leads me to my next question. Does being equal mean they have the same roles?
Equality in Islam doesn't mean that men and women have the same roles. The Quran recognizes their distinct roles based on their different strengths and responsibilities, which complement each other. For example, men may have certain financial responsibilities, while women may have specific roles in family care. But both are equally accountable to God for their actions. The key is that these roles are not a measure of superiority or inferiority, but rather a balanced method to ensure the well-being of society.
It just makes sense. There are a few hadiths that I've read that definitely show that women are not less than men. If you look at the hadiths, there's one that says, "Paradise lies under your mother's feet." It also says that your mother is prioritized 3 times before your father. Does this sound like women are less than men? So, men and women are equal in the eyes of God. Yes, they do have different roles in society, but this is to show the balance, and this is how God has created us. In Islam, women have a lot of rights in a marriage. Women cannot be forced from their husbands to cook, clean, look after the house. No, a woman is not a man's slave. That's not how it works in a relationship. If she chooses to do it, it's absolutely her choice. What's really interesting, a husband cannot force his wife to work. But if she does choose to work, all of her savings is hers to keep. When a man works, it's his responsibility to use his earnings to look after his family, to provide and protect. Does this sound like oppression to you? Does this really sound like women are less than men in Islam? Honestly, I feel bad for the men. I really love the balance in Islam. I feel like it emphasizes the different roles in society and finds a balance between men and women. It acknowledges the differences while honoring each role. What were the rights of women before Islam? Did Islam bring women more rights, or did it strip them away from their rights?
Before Islam, women in many societies, including pre-Islamic Arabia, were often treated as property, sold in markets, denied inheritance, and subject to practices like forced marriage and even the burial of female infants. Islam brought significant changes, introducing rights to education, inheritance, financial independence, and consent in marriage. Many of these rights, revolutionary at the time, were not seen in any parts of the world until centuries later, marking a transformative shift in how women were treated in society.
Wow, that's crazy. What do you guys think?
Masya Allah, luar biasa para sobat. Lili ini membuka cakrawala berpikir di mana media-media barat yang mengatakan memakai hijab itu menindas wanita, mengurangi kebebasan, ternyata tidak. Ternyata Islam mengatur wanita atau mengatur suami dan istri secara seimbang, yang berkeadilan. Luar biasa, sampai berkali-kali Lili ini wow luar biasa. Ya, dan video ini mudah-mudahan memberi pencerahan pada orang-orang tanda petik atau media yang tidak suka Islam bahwa wanita sangat dimuliakan dalam Islam. Wanita tidak dijadikan komoditas vulgar sebagaimana kita lihat di negara-negara barat itu. Mohon maaf jika ada yang salah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.